What's going on, guys? Billy here, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the RYZE Tello, a drone with DJI flight tech and Intel chips inside, making this one of the more powerful and capable toy drones that I've had the pleasure of flying. Coming in at $100, this is a bit of a steep price for something of this size, but backing that price is some cool features and great hardware, making this one of the best toy drones that I've ever flown. It's perfect for younger kids, or maybe if you're somebody who's just trying to get into drones and don't want to shell out a lot of money. Anyway, let's stop rambling on and take a closer look at the RYZE Tello. Starting things off with the unboxing portion of the video, I think they did a pretty good job with the packaging. It fits the Tello's market perfectly, as if you're walking down an aisle in the store looking for a toy drone to play with, and you're presented with the product itself through the plastic window. Once you slide the plastic out, you'll notice that the Tello is sandwiched in between two sheets of plastic. It comes with the propeller guards already installed and no battery, which we'll probably find somewhere else in the box. Trying to find it, I definitely took the hard way of getting there, but I did finally find it, along with 4 spare props and a prop removal tool. No quick release props on this puppy. So we've basically got everything that we need to fly the drone, the battery, the tools, but sadly the Tello does not come with the micro USB cable in the box. Upon searching the box again, and even reading the manual, I can confirm there is no charger in the box. Now look, I know that micro USB cables are pretty easy to come by, you probably have a bunch of them laying around your house, but really, it doesn't come with a charger? Anyway, the design of the Tello is what you would expect. It's made of plastic all around the body and is fairly light, but most of its weight comes from the battery, which slides in the back. One thing to look out for is the battery coming dislodged from the drone. I was flying it around inside, and a couple of times when I hit the wall and it fell to the ground, the battery came out. So that's just something that you should probably look out for when you're flying it around. Speaking of bumping into walls, in the box we have propeller guards that come pre-installed, which I would recommend keeping on if you're going to be flying it inside. Flipping the drone over on the bottom, we'll see a pair of sensors and a small camera to help it stay stable during flight. This is known as the vision system, which is in other drones like the Spark and the Mavic series, and drastically helps the craft hold still when no buttons are being pressed. I've never seen this implemented in a drone this price and this size, and you'd be really surprised just how much it helps you when you're flying. Also, looking on the bottom of the drone, we'll see that it has little rubber feet to sit on when taking off and landing. The clearance level is pretty low, so be sure to only take off on flat surfaces. Looking at the slim sides of the drone, we find our only forms of I/O, which is a power button on the right side and a micro USB port for charging on the left. This drone is charged entirely through this port. There's no external chargers available at this time, and honestly, for a drone of this size and this caliber, it just makes most sense, and it makes it easier to charge right through the drone itself. I think it would have been pretty cool if they tried to implement some LEDs into the Tello, maybe on the arms or near the motors, but we do have this LED right here on the front that is used to monitor the status of the drone through its various different flight features. The final thing I want to mention about the design is the motors, which are brushed, not brushless. To be exact, they are coreless brushed motors, and overall are less efficient and less reliable than brushed motors. Now look, if this was something like the Phantom or maybe even a drone in the Mavic series, I'd probably have a little bit more of a problem with it, but it's only the Tello, it's $100, you're really not going to be flying all that far, and therefore you're going to get some pretty good life out of these motors considering it's a toy grade drone. I mean, really, it still flies great. Now, for most of my drone review videos, I like to include a performance category. Manufacturers every single year increase the speed and overall performance of drones that are tiny and foldable. Now, granted, these drones are a lot more expensive than the Tello, but you're not going to be getting 40 miles per hour out of this thing like any other drone in the Mavic series, but it is still pretty quick. There is 2 separate speeds, accurately called slow and fast, so I would recommend only using slow when you're inside and then fast when you're outside. But hey, it's your call. This thing really can zip around in fast mode with a top speed of 18 miles per hour, so just be careful if you're going to be flying it inside. One problem that I have with the Tello's performance is its agility. It doesn't really seem all that responsive, and I would credit this problem to the touchscreen controls that you use to fly the drone. So you have to use your actual mobile device's screen to fly the drone, and I hate touchscreen controls for drones. If you want to, you can go out and buy a Bluetooth remote controller to hook up to your mobile device to fly the Tello, but I didn't want to buy one just to fly the Tello for this video. Overall, the performance of this drone is great to fly around inside your house, dodging obstacles like lamps and picture frames, and even handles well if you get it outside in your backyard. You'll definitely be able to have a lot of fun with this thing regardless of how experienced you may be with drones. Another category that I always like to include in my drone review videos is the camera, which is definitely this drone's weak point. I would say it's unusable, but I wouldn't go that far. As for the specs of the camera, it shoots video in 720p at 30 frames per second. It has electronic image stabilization so that the video isn't terribly shaky. And as far as taking photos, we're looking at a 5 megapixel shooter with pictures coming out in a resolution of 2592 by 1936. The videos shot inside look pixelated and grainy, and although I would have to assume that it was compensating for low light, the camera's still pretty bad outside even when the light is better. It's also jumpy, like it skips a frame or two when you watch it back, and I really won't make a huge complaint about this because I'm sure it can be fixed with a software update, but as of right now, you really can't watch it without getting annoyed. Another issue that I'm having with the Tello's camera is the exposure value, which seems to be all over the place. Like areas of the frame are flashing from dark to light. Keep in mind that this is a toy drone, so the camera won't be the best, but it does get the job done in terms of FPV flight from your phone. While the quality of the camera really isn't all that great, I do have to say that the EIS, or the electronic image stabilization, works really well. Without a gimbal, it looks pretty smooth. If you decide to switch things over to fast mode, then you'll get a wider field of view, but no EIS, so the video won't be stabilized. I would assume that they took off the stabilization when in fast mode to compensate for the fast speed of the Tello. The bottom line is this camera really isn't the best, but I would assume if you went out and purchased it, you probably aren't buying it for the camera to take high quality pictures and nice smooth video. You're probably just getting it to fly around and have some fun, which is perfect for. So we went over the design, the performance, and the camera on the Tello, and now I want to take some time to hit a few of the miscellaneous specs. First up is the battery, which is designed by a company named Max. This battery delivers up to 13 minutes of advertised flight time and is rated to hold a capacity of 1100 milliamp hours. While I never find myself actually getting a full 13 minutes of flight from one single Tello charge, it does last a pretty long time, and it definitely helps to have a spare battery. In terms of range, the Tello operates over Wi-Fi, so all you need to do to connect to your drone is open your Wi-Fi settings on your mobile device and look for Tello. The frequency of this connection is 2.4 GHz, not 5.8 GHz, and advertises a range of 100 meters or 328 feet, which for a toy drone is killer. It really is pretty small, so I never find myself flying any further than 100 feet away. And also, using the touchscreen controls, I really don't trust myself flying too far away. Maybe if it had some LEDs on it, it would be a different story, as it'd be easier to see. Now, even though the maximum range is 100 meters or 328 feet, the maximum height is only 10 meters, which is about 32 feet. That really isn't that high, and this could probably go a lot higher, but the software prevents you. I'm really not sure how I feel about this. Like, yeah, I'm sure you don't want to be flying this drone hundreds of feet up in the air where the wind is a little bit higher as you increase your altitude, but also 32 feet is pretty low. It seems pretty restricting. The companion application to go along with the Tello, like the DJI Go 4 application, is really well put together, has some cool features, and also has a lot of different settings to tweak. On the main flight screen, there is a lot of things like auto takeoff, your important flight telemetry, a way to download your pictures and videos, and another settings icon, which brings us into a whole plethora of different settings to tweak. Let me know if you guys would like to see a more in-depth overlook of these settings in a separate video. With this tiny drone comes some cool features that are fun to use and work really well. Tapping on the Tello icon in the top left corner will bring us to the flight modes list, which consists of bounce mode, throw and go, flips, up and out, 360, and circle. So first up, bounce mode. All this does is send the Tello up and down in an infinite loop. It will continue to bounce up and down basically until the drone runs out of battery. I'm not exactly sure how you would use this, but it's there. Next is throw and go. A lot like the Spark's takeoff features, with the Tello, you hold it in your hand, wait for the countdown, and once the motor's primed, throw the drone up in the air and it'll come to a hover. It's pretty cool, I really like using this, but just watch those fingers. Moving on, we have flips, which seems to be in every single drone of this size, especially the toy grade ones. So once we select flips, a box will appear in the middle of the screen, and all you need to do is swipe within that box and the drone will flip in the direction of your finger movement. There's 8 different directions, so you can swipe either up, down, left, or right, and also to any of the corners. It's pretty neat in my opinion, just to go and have some fun with. Next is up and out, which resembles the droney quick shot from DJI. Without a gimbal that pitches up and down, this mode works alright, and because of the high wind in my area, I had a hard time getting it to work and look good. Next up is 360, which slowly spins around in one spot at a pretty slow rate. It will record a video for you and will come to a stop when the full spin is finished. Finally, we have circle, which is the opposite of 360. Set the Tello in front of you, and once it begins, it will fly a circle around your subject while capturing a video. Once the full circle has completed, it will come to a hover. All of these features are pretty cool, and while you may not use them every single day, it is pretty fun to break up some of the normalities of just flying around. So there we have it, that's the Tello. I like it, it's a lot of fun to fly around whether you're inside or outside, but usually when I fly my drones around, I like using them for pictures and videos, taking high quality images, high quality videos to share on YouTube with you guys, so I don't really know how much I'll be using the Tello, considering the camera really isn't its strong point. But if it stays like today, where it is super snowy outside on a spring day, it's probably going to be good to break out inside and have some fun with. If you're looking to get your younger child a drone, or hey, maybe if you're somebody out there who's looking to get into drones, you're a little bit older and you want something to practice with, instead of going out and buying a drone that's a couple $100 or maybe even a couple of $1,000, this Tello is perfect for starters. I mean, honestly, I would have to say it's the perfect starter drone. So guys, hope that you enjoyed the video. Be sure to let me know what you think of the Tello down in the comment section below, whether you have it or not. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.